but find out in every conversation explores the art of thinking beyond the obvious. And today I have my special guest. He's the founder and president of Steward Right, no other than Mr. Michael Proctor.
Thank you, Daniel. Happy to be on your podcast.
Welcome, Mr. Michael on Abstract Outside. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I missed?
Sure. Got my finance degree back in 2010, and for 15 years been working in the now investment advisory space. I started Steward Right 9 years ago after working with some bigger companies. I've been a financial planner since 2013, a certified financial planner. And we've got a team of 8 here. We're growing very quickly. I am an entrepreneur and an advisor. So I wear both hats of growing the firm, growing the team and our systems, but then also working with clients as well. So there's a lot to it, a lot of fun stuff there. Going back to, I guess, some of the training I've gotten over the years and learning how to figure it out, which is a lot of what entrepreneurs like to do.
Yes, and thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world, Mr. Michael. Thank you. Today, let's talk about the other side of the coin, solving a communication gap between spouses with different money wiring. So, the title suggests a fundamental writing differences. When couples fight about money, what is the real battle over numbers? Is it something deeper, values, security, freedom, or identity that gets expressed through finances?
Yeah, it's such a great topic, and I think a lot of people relate to it, especially if you've ever been in a relationship where the both of you actually care deeply about how you handle money, but you grew up in a family that handles it differently than one another. One of the surveys that we give to our clients, or we don't do it with everybody, but is we go through a survey called Fiscalosophy. And what it does is it lets you choose in 10 different categories which side of the coin you may be on. So let's say with debt management, if you are of the mindset of pay everything off, don't owe anybody anything, or I like to make money with other people's money, which is more of an entrepreneurial mindset. That those are two very different views, but they're both good in their own way. And when you get two people together that look very differently upon how you manage, for example, debt, or how you manage your investments, you manage cash flow, your lifestyle, giving, paying for kids' college, all these different areas, your odds of everything not being exactly in alignment is very, very high. And so, Daniel, back to your question about how deep does that go, or what's the real problem, is it gets down into, I actually view money as being spiritual. And I think it has a lot of inherently spiritual qualities about it, to where it can actually go right down to some of our deepest hurts. And so what happens is when, say, I want to pay off debt, or my spouse doesn't, and we can't see eye to eye, but we start miscommunicating really fast, then we just can't talk about money. 70% of couples just can't talk about money. It's really hard, and at some point they give up trying. So
Certainly, Mr. Yes, certainly, Mr. Michael. So, wiring implies it's innate. How much a person's money personality is truly hardwired from childhood, family experience, and how much it can be consciously rewired within a relationship.
Great question. It is some of it comes down to how God actually made us individually and how we do see the world. We're going to tend to gravitate towards validating a certain approach. The other side of that is our learned life experience, seeing how money actually does behave, or how we behave in context of money, or what happens when you handle it a certain way. Now, I tend to be more on the risk management side. And so I take a lot of very calculated risks with how I manage cash flow or money or investment, which is a skill set you have to have when you're an entrepreneur. You have to know how to make good calculated judgment calls around risk and exposure and managing and mitigating all those things. But if you maybe aren't well equipped in that area, the safe thing to do is pay off debt, live well within your means, and that's all you do. That's where you can get those pieces that just grind and they just don't work well together, because it's hard to get the other person to see that's literally on the other side of the coin, facing the other direction, to come around and say, "Oh, okay, what is that other side like?" and be willing and open to actually come take a look at it or be okay with it to a point. But that's the challenge, is when you do see it, you're wired to see it a certain way, and to learn to let go a little bit and trust in the relationship of, okay, I appreciate that my spouse or my partner or whoever is able to see things differently, and I'm willing to be open with that, try it out, whatever, and have that open conversation. But man, it just can so quickly turn into a difficult conversation where people's feelings are getting hurt because they're like, well, you know, for whatever reason, whatever experience they've had, however they grew up, is feeding and playing into that, to where it's just hard to be open. But the more you can learn to do that, the more you can learn to have tough conversations and work through it. But man, money's tough. Money's a tough one.
Man, it's a tough one for sure, Mr. Mike. So beyond the spender versus saver, what are the less obvious but equally
Yeah.
divisive?
Yep.
Divisive wiring differences you see, like a risk taker married to a security seeker, or a delegator paired with the micromanager of finances.
Yep. So there's debt, how much you save. If you want to save a lot today, or say, you know what, we're going to get to that. We'll get to it down the road. Your level of spending, if you're living completely 100% spending every dollar that comes in the door, or if you're spending 50 cents on the dollar that comes in the door, or even maybe less. I've seen people even spend less. Level of giving, how generous you are. Let's say if you're living on half of what comes in the door, what do you do with the rest of it? Do you save it? Do you give it away? Do you give it to kids, grandkids, charities? Do you help out causes? Stock market, how exposed are you with your investments to the stock market? Are you okay to watch your funds go up and then come down some and go up some more, or do you just want a really smooth, steady ride? Because when you watch it go down, all these fears come up for you, and it's really hard to function or even sleep. Coverage, like, how do you cover insurance risk? Do you insure everything away? Do you try to get as much and best insurance on everything that you can, or do you use it appropriate? Like, do you use it to cover risks that you can't safely absorb on your own, or do you only insure what you need to insure, or do you insure nothing? Some people actually don't like spending insurance money on anything. Uh, how much you help the children out with college, or even how retirement might look, or different, or some a couple more areas. Because with retirement, it could matter on how early you retire, or what lifestyle you have when you do retire. Do you travel more? Do you stay close to home? Do you invest in grandkids? Do you see the world? A lot of different approaches there, and yeah, as many iterations as you could potentially, probably can't even dream up, is how people look at these things. But they're making decisions together, and so it is a skill set to learn, okay, the other side of the coin that I'm on, what's that like? How do I learn to appreciate it, love, accept, and do all those things to be able to have a really good, healthy conversation?
the conversation indeed. So let's talk about the emotional and psychological fears, Mr. Mike. Money is a language of love or fear. How do unmet emotional needs for security? Hmm, I have lagging. I'm lagging right
Yeah, it's
now.
hard for me to
So
hear. Yeah.
yes, yeah, just give me a minute, Mr. Mike, because I will just fix it. And I reconnecting, so my apologies. While I'm doing to fix, trying to fix it. Just give me a second, people. We are having a difficulty, so now we're good. My question is, Mr. Mike, money is a language of love or fear. How do we unmet emotional needs for security, autonomy, or significance masquerade as a financial disagreement? Can you give an example of how fight about a credit card bill is often a carry of something else?
Right. Yeah. One example of that would be, I guess, looking at who spent what. So you're swiping the card for something that wasn't needed, and then it's a challenge to get it paid. It's a matter. It can be a matter of control, is what the fight's really about, or prioritization. If the other spouse takes it as, wow, you prioritize that more than our basic needs as a family, and that can hurt really deep if they feel like the material spending was more important, or if they took it as, I would have liked to talk about this with you, why didn't you come talk to me about this? Is my view not important? Do you not value what I have to say about this? And now we're having to pay for it, and this might be a challenge. um, or it could be, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can skin the cat on a fight about a credit card bill, because it could be the fact that there is a credit card bill, and with a spouse that believes that they should not have any debt ever, even from month to month, even if they're paying off the whole thing. That could be a values based issue of how they were raised. And so it could be a self violating feeling even within them, just the fact that a credit card's being used at all.
Definitely, yes, indeed. So, how about the building communication bridge, Mr. Mike? The money date concept. Most couples dread it. How do you structure a financial conversation so it feels like a collaborative team meeting instead of a tense a boardroom interrogation? What is the one agenda besides bills?
What, sorry, what is that last part?
What's the on the agenda besides bills?
Oh, okay. Yeah, what we're gonna focus on is why. Well, are you asking about how we talk about the money that was spent? Okay.
Yes,
So
yes,
how we talk
please.
about, thanks, Daniel. So how we talk about the money that was spent is going to come to, okay, what was spent? But then the very next question is, what was important about this being spent? And sometimes you can scratch the itch for either less money or in a different way to fit within the budget if that's the challenge that we're facing. If the challenge we're facing is a communication issue, it's like, how do we learn to appreciate and embrace our spouse, the person we're trying to do life with and work on money with? But how do we embrace the other one so that we can actually learn how to show love through how we spend money, how we consider the other party, and how we work together and collaboratively? Sometimes there's breakdowns that I'm not qualified to solve because they should go see a therapist. I happen to be married to a therapist, and but there are things that I'm not going to be able to help with to the level that they're going to need help. But one of the biggest things is, how do you learn to appreciate your spouse or your partner, and how do you learn to show that through the financial conversation, and learn to kind of surrender your side of it and say, hey, I'm open here, what should we do? And if both sides can say, I'm open, what should we do? That's a lot more easy space to deal in than pointing fingers and kind of, I guess, prosecuting the other side, because that is that's a tough one to deal with. But the more appreciation and understanding of the other person, the more helpful that is. So we talk about what is the mindset that leads into that, and frankly, where are the spaces we can honor that way of looking at it, and do that for both sides, and then figure out together where are we landing somewhere in the middle usually.
When money reveals a values chasm, so, Mr. Mike, what is the conflict is truly about fundamentally different life goals, and how do couples navigate the beyond just compromise?
Sorry, say that again.
Yes, we're talking about the deeper work integration when money reveals as a values.
Hmm.
So, what if the conflict is truly about fundamentally different life goals?
Yes.
Like one's simplicity on the other one's is wealth. How can couples navigate the beyond just compromise?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a great question, Daniel.
Thank you.
Well, sometimes it just the surrender has to be bigger, because because if someone wants to live a minimalist lifestyle and the other one is on the other end of the spectrum, uh, one of them is going to have to surrender, because they're those would be somewhat incompatible without surrender. So that one would be headed towards a tough place. But um, yeah, I think how I might reframe that whole perspective, if you think about it, Daniel, is if the couple prioritizes each other, then they're going to figure out how to work through that, and they're going to figure out how to get along together. And um, because if how I come at finances or in my relationship is we actually come together with the Lord and actually so that hey, what does God say about this first, and then what do we have to say about it, and let's work on that, and let's talk about that as best we can, and work it out together, because ultimately, my wife, it's like, hey, you're my priority here, and I'm here for you, so what are we going to do?
Definitely, they make something that you compromise each other. Let's talk about the legacy question, Mr. Mike. How the conversations about money change when couples start thinking about the financial behaviors and values they are modeling and potentially passing on to their children.
Yeah, awesome question. More is caught than taught, and that can be really tough, Daniel, when, let's say, you're doing well financially, because one of the problems with doing well is you actually wind up setting the bar pretty high. And you, in training our kids to be content, part of that is learning to be happy with what you have where you are, no matter what. And I have been in living situations from a kind of a rundown duplex to a very nice home. And at every stage, I've been very intentional with the kids on saying, hey, we're thankful for this. And this is why we're thankful. And to learn to thank God, through all of it, no matter what, good, bad, the ugly, and to learn contentment. Now, the other thing is train them up in the way they should go, because how you do train them up, or you don't train them up. If you're not training them up, the world is. There's a lot of junk out there that gets attention, of flashy things, things that don't matter, really shallow things that, guess what? Your kids, they start off young and generally immature. And so they're going to tend to gravitate towards more immature worldviews, because that's what's readily available. And today, the access to information and data and entertainment is unlike any other era we've lived in, even close. It's just not even close. But where the parents are able to play a role, hopefully, is in offering access to wisdom. And even the people that you intentionally get your kids around, that they have wisdom and they do make wise decisions, and not just short term or flashy or shallow material based decisions. But uh, what's interesting is there seems to be a lack of wisdom being put on display, and a lot of showmanship, short-sighted thinking. But that's where what you do, as far as even how you set up your estate plan. I've been very in touch with my kids to let them know that, hey, if I believe that the money I'm going to pass to you, or the money we pass to you, is going to crush you because you can't handle it, because it's going to raise up so much stress within you, you just can't make a wise decision with it, and it's going to be a net negative in your life. I'm not gonna I'm not gonna give it to you, because that's better for you. But if I know, and I know that you've learned what money is, what it isn't, what it represents, which it does represent a lot of power, uh, and you can do a lot of damage or a lot of good. But if I suspect that more damage will be done than good, then that's where we are, and I have to make my decision around that. So really setting the bar high, and setting expectations that money inherited is not winning the lottery. It is building on a legacy. It is learning to use a very powerful thing and a powerful tool, and to administer it well. But yeah, there's some thoughts around that. I could probably go on for a while, but um, yeah, it's, contentment is probably the biggest, most important item within there, and gratitude on what we have, no matter where we're at.
Very well said, Mr. Michael. Very well said. But before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in sixth season, abstract poetry in third season, and my book 101 review in sixth season as well. Comedy 101 fourth season, and food 101 in sixth season as well. Geography 101 love letters, movie 101 review, music 101 in fifth season, Science 101, Sex 101, fourth season, Spiritual Awakening 101, Trivia 101, Law 101, Mental Health 101, Motivation 101, Entrepreneurship 101, and of course, my Bible Verses 101 are my baby podcasts. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Michael, final invitation for hope for the couple listening who are exhausted, discouraged, and feel their wiring is just incompatible. What is your message? Where can they possibly begin to find a common ground on their side of the coin?
Mm. Yeah, great question. Well, Daniel, I think
Mm,
I've said it a few different ways, but I honestly, it's just going to be surrendering where you're at. If you're feeling it's incompatible, you're just going to have to surrender it to, I guess for me, it's to the Lord. For us, it's to the Lord, and then also
yes.
to one another, and to say, hey, you are more important than this one thing I'm trying to hold on to here, and let's let's figure it out together.
Yes, indeed. If your center of the marriage is God, for sure there's no problem to be solved. Just pray for it, and for sure, sooner or later, you will find it. And we say, Eureka, let's do this marriage for better and worse. So, Mr. Michael, would you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or whatever projects that you're doing right now?
Yeah, of course. You can find us on stewardright.com, and that's steward with a D, stewardright.com. And hey, we love your feedback as well, and happy to help you, whether that's portfolio management, financial planning, or if you are wanting some help in talking with your spouse about money or financial plans. It's almost impossible to come up with a financial plan when you can't talk about money. So we
Mm.
are here to help with that, and help breathe some life into your marriage.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Michael Proctor, because if you support him, for sure, more and more financial planning to secure will rise. So, Mr. Michael, Thank you so much for your time.
All right. Thanks, Daniel.
Marticon people, see you soon.